Okay, I'll be the first to admit the Long Dark has its flaws. The controls were clearly designed for a console and don't make the best use of keyboard shortcuts or the mouse. Every mechanic in the game seems to have its own menu system that operates in a slightly different, slightly awkward way. Even saving your game feels unnecessarily arcane and complicated. You can't just save or save and quit. Instead, your game is saved automatically on certain triggers that aren't obvious and aren't listed out anywhere. Every new player has lost progress because they didn't understand when the last save point was. And sometimes the pacing can get really slow and tedious. What you're watching now is footage from an actual speedrun by a popular Long Dark YouTuber. Go Zach, go! So exciting. But despite these quirks, I love this game. I keep coming back to it because there's simply no other immersive open world experience quite like this. So welcome back to the Long Dark Fresh Start Challenge. If you missed part 1, the challenge is simple. I haven't played this game in over 2 years, have never played the Tales from the Far Territory expansion, and in my first game back, I am attempting to survive for 60 days on Misery, the new hardest difficulty. At the end of part 1, we had just reached the camp office in Mystery Lake, which will become our main base for this entire run. I immediately start getting settled in, dropping my deer hide to cure and looking around for what items I can find.
I could use this.
The cooking skillet is new to me. I guess you need it for some of the new recipes. Upstairs I find a bedroll, a crucial item which lets you sleep anywhere, though you can still freeze to death if you pick a spot that's too cold. I start a fire in the upstairs stove and get some water boiling.
That's done.
It's always a good idea to have your fire working for you in the background while you're doing other things. When searching a building, be sure to crouch to look under tables and shelves. Potatoes, huh? That's a new item. What do I do with it? I mean, I guess eat it, right? Hopefully I'm not missing out on crafting some new potato-powered light bulb. I step outside to gather a few more sticks and drop my meat, but it's windy and cold, so I don't stay out for long. I drop some of my venison out there because, like most foods, it degrades more slowly when packed in the cold snow. Oh, baked potatoes give you a warming up bonus. Good to know, but not useful right now since I'm about to sleep. The next morning, I step outside and grab my venison. If you're wondering why I let myself get dehydrated, it's a little trick to save water. Salty foods like cooked meat will reduce your hydration, but they can't reduce it if it's already at 0. So by eating them when you're already dehydrated, you end up using less water to keep your meter full. I spend the rest of the morning getting organized, placing down some water, laying out various tools and supplies on the countertop. This will be my medical corner. I drop a bunch of cattails, and I'll leave behind some other food. Finally, we're not nearly as weighed down as we were when we got here. I've reached the important milestone of establishing a base, but I'm about to find out what playing Misery really means in the Long Dark. Oh man, it's cold out here. It feels like I'm barely out the door and I'm already freezing. Misery does not mess around with the temperature.
Can't feel my hands.
Yeah, you said it, Will. We're heading in the direction of Trapper's Cabin, another location where you tend to find a lot of useful resources, and we'll grab as much firewood as we can along the way. Whoa, do you see it? A wolf right in our path. I pull out a torch, and as I get closer, sure enough, I briefly consider trying to get around this wolf and save my match, but I kind of need to warm up anyway, so I light my torch and scare the wolf away. We're near the Deadfall area, which has a destroyed structure with a protected stove. So once the wolf is gone, I head there to warm up my tea. I stay crouched for this. The wolf is still nearby, and I don't want it jumping me while I'm dealing with the fire. But the temperature is so low, I would need to use more of my precious coal to warm up. I decide I'll have to settle for just some hot tea and move on. This is also where I learned that you can't reheat a baked potato. Come on, devs, I do this all the time in my microwave. Almost as soon as I stand up, I'm in front of the wolf now, so I don't even bother scaring it away. Go ahead, Rex, follow around my torch if you want. This lazy decision turns out to be a good one. A little further ahead, I pass by a rabbit, and when the wolf sees it, that was a little easier than creeping up on it with a rock. I bring the rabbit with me and crest the hill overlooking Trapper's Cabin. In some games, a bear makes its home in that area down below, but I only see deer and rabbits there now. This is a mixed blessing. I'm certainly safer today, but it would have been a very convenient location for bear hunting later on. And up ahead, there's Trapper's cabin itself. But we're not going there just yet. You see, as long as I have this torch, I'd like to go to the nearby cave first. This is a connector cave, which exits to the entirely different region of Mountain Town, but I don't actually want to travel there. I'm just here for more coal. The cave also has a few sticks and a corpse, but those are almost always empty.
This'll come in handy.
Huh. I'm starting to worry how much these matches will weigh me down. I don't think I've ever had that problem before. When exiting a cave, it can be a good idea to leave your torch behind and peek outside first. That way, your torch won't blow out even if it's windy, and you have the option to light a fire and wait out bad weather. But in our case, the weather is good, so we grab our torch and head to behind Trapper's cabin, where there used to be rabbits, but I guess they don't spawn here anymore.
Can't feel my
Well,
feet.
time to head into the cabin itself then. Once inside, I light a fire in the stove and start some snow melting to get some more fresh water. While that's going, I harvest the meat from my rabbit to get it ready for cooking and start looking around. Don't be fooled by the small size of this structure. There tends to be a lot of good stuff in here. The most important thing I find behind a chair is a hacksaw.
Just what I need.
Will's not kidding. This is exactly what we were looking for. We can now use it to break down scrap metal, which we can bring to a forge and melt down with our coal, then use the heavy hammer to fashion it into the hunting knife and arrowheads we'll need to progress. I play through the safe-cracking minigame and find some work boots. These will be great once I can find some leather to fix them up. And an insulated flask. This is a new item. I guess it keeps my tea warm for longer? I almost missed this storm lantern, but grab it before heading out. A lantern is really useful for lighting up a dark place when you don't want to waste a match on a torch. In the snowy night, I am nearly blind to everything beyond my torchlight, but just for you, we can use video editing magic to give us night vision. On the way back, I stopped by that rabbit grove we saw from the hillside on the way in. Dropping a torch from within your inventory causes you to put it quietly on the ground. That means you don't scare the rabbits away like you would if you just switched to a rock and let the torch fall. Haha, hit the shot in the dark. I think I'm starting to get my sea legs back. Of course, as soon as I say that, I make another mistake while I'm trying to chain my torches. See if you can spot it. Did you catch that? The first time I tried to light it, I wasn't quite pointing at the torch on the ground, which means I was using a match. That match is now wasted. It's a good reminder not to carry around unlit torches if you're planning to click on things. I find one more rabbit on the way back, and fortunately no wolves bother me this time. I'm freezing and getting low on health, but a good night's sleep should help with that. Harvesting rabbits is a great activity for the darkness if you're trying to stay up late. Other things to do in the dark include preparing tea ingredients and sharpening tools. There's no harm in sleeping in past dawn, especially if you're planning to travel the next day. The early morning is actually one of the coldest parts of the day, so I'm happy to wake up just before noon. And it's not because I've been partying all night and am really hungover, but because today I'm going on a bit of a hike. Even though we have our hacksaw, there's not much metal furniture at the camp office I can saw into scrap. But there's a nearby location famous for all the metal it has. We're heading back to the Carter Dam. To get back to the dam, instead of following the river like we did to get to the camp office, we'll follow the train tracks this time. This is so we'll have a chance to find whatever new stuff we can along the way.
I'm so cold. I'm warming up again.
I know you're cold, Will. We'll light a fire soon. I find a bunch of sticks and acorns. Acorns can be turned into a few different edible items, but they require a lot of preparation. About halfway up the tracks, we arrive at the train derailment. There's a deer corpse here, and I can see a couple of wolves. The wolves can't get into this train car, but I'm freezing anyway, so I might as well light a fire. Ooh, speaking of fire.
This'll come in handy.
A 62% fire striker can light 62 fires before running out, but my favorite thing about having a fire striker is this screen right here. Whenever I try to light a torch, it now prompts me what I want to use to light it. This makes it way harder to start lighting one accidentally wasting a match. Haha, we have overcome one of the game's hard-to-use mechanics. I now have plenty of fire starting capability for 60 days, but I'll still try to limit myself to lighting one fire per day. Partly because old habits die hard, but also if I succeed this challenge, I might come back to this run sometime and see how much farther I can go. Yeah, you better run, Rover. You can get out of here too, Fido. Right? Wait, what are you doing? Whoa. Yeah, beat it. I'm going to stop to harvest this deer corpse. Notice you can push the number 4 on your keyboard as a shortcut to starting a fire, so you don't have to go through any menu systems. The hide will be handy, but I especially need the meat. I seem to be running low on food. It takes some coal, but I really need to warm up. I can't just keep losing health like this. Tossing on some sticks will help me warm up faster, though it takes 20 sticks to match the heat from one piece of coal. I don't have the patience to wait for the deer to thaw, so I use my hacksaw to harvest the frozen carcass. I eat a few cattails to keep my hunger meter from running out while the meat is cooking. I'm not about to make the same mistake I did last episode. And soon enough, my belly is full of venison and I have not lost well fed. Alright, that went pretty... Oh no. A blizzard struck while I was harvesting the hide, blowing out my fire. At least my tea is still hot and my cold meter hasn't dropped too much, so I have a decent head start, but I need to get to shelter fast. I quickly gather everything and get moving, but then I hear a bark. A blizzard will stop animals from spawning, but it won't despawn anything. I guess Rover and Fido were hanging around the whole time I was harvesting this deer. And in this blinding snow, I can't even see where they're coming from. I start running in the direction I think I should go. If I'm remembering right, there's a path going away from the train tracks that eventually crosses the river and goes to the trailers in front of the dam. In this weather, I can't tell if I've shaken the wolves off or if they're following behind me in the snow. Where is that river? Oh no, I'm back at the train tracks. That means I've gone in a circle, and the music playing tells me that the wolves are still on me. I'm lost. My cold meter is almost empty, and I'll soon start losing my already low health. If the wolves don't get me, it looks like the cold will. For a few moments, I start to think about giving up. But you know what? This is the long dark, and in this game, the most valuable resource is your will to continue. As long as you have 1 pixel of health left, the run is not over. I turn back into the woods and charge forward, determined to find that river. And sure enough, here it is. The reeds and pattern of frozen ice are unmistakable. The wolves are still behind me, but at least I know where I'm going now. The fact that any simple journey can turn into a dangerous adventure is exactly what I love about this game's unique experience. It makes every moment a little bit exciting. Here's a tip. If it's too dark to see, trying to place a bedroll will show you where the floor and obstacles are. Very handy if you're trying to find your way to a bed in the pitch black of the night. We wake up early the next morning, which means it's very cold, but that's okay. We're not traveling far, just into the dam. Wow, that was like 20 steps and it drained my entire cold meter. I have got to get some better gear. It's pretty dark in here even during the day, so let's use that video editing magic again. I didn't actually loot part of the upper dam the first time I came through here, so I grab what I can find, including cracking open this safe. Maple syrup in the safe. Canadians have their priorities straight. I then find a metal table and spend 3 hours breaking it down. Thank goodness for the time skip mechanics, huh? While sawing the next shelf, I get well fed. This means my hunger meter has not emptied for 3 full days. I now have some bonus health and can carry an extra 5 kilograms. I am not sure what's going on here with the floating spray paint and stuff. We end up with a respectable 18 scrap metal, which should be enough to forge all the gear we'll need. I then head out to look for more food. I want to keep this well-fed bonus. I start by going to the upper river to harvest some more cattails. Whoa, are those ptarmigans? These birds are a new type of animal only available in the expansion. I think you can catch them like rabbits. So I pull out a stone, creep up, and... Oh, these are harder to hit. And it looks like when they're scared, they fly away and don't come back. Ah well, next time. On the riverbank, I find a deer carcass behind some maple saplings. Not only can I eat this deer meat, but I'll be able to fashion these saplings into a survival bow once I have a knife. Fortunately, I can cut them down now that I have a hacksaw. It's nighttime once we're done harvesting, so we grab the hide, guts, and saplings and head back towards the trailer. I was planning to cross this bridge, but then I spy something on the other side. Well, at least it hasn't seen me yet. Okay, there's a wolf coming across the bridge and it's too windy to light a torch. Let's try this way. A second wolf barks at me, but keep in mind that the brightness is turned up here, and this is what I was seeing. I didn't even notice the wolf was there and thought the bark was coming from the bridge. It wasn't until I edited this video that I realized how close I came to getting torn apart and probably killed. I still don't understand how I got past that wolf without a struggle. Any experts watching that can explain what exactly happened there? I make it safely to this trailer where I spend time eating cattails, warming up, and waiting for the wolves to wander off. The other trailer has the bed, so I prepare for one last dash through the night. But there's a question burning in the back of my mind. If I've had so much trouble with this simple journey between the office and the dam, how will I manage the much longer, much colder journey to the forge in Forlorn Muskeg? That is the problem I will need to tackle in the next episode, as I continue to fight through the cold and misery of the Long Dark. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back for part 3 of the Long Dark Fresh Start Challenge.